Yo, what's going on, guys? So we are getting close to the halfway life cycle of Talandre. If you guys remember in the Tico talks, Talandre is supposed to last us 6 months, so we're getting close to the halfway mark, which means we should be closing in on getting everything done for the grind, whether that be getting all your traits, all your gear, um, basically everything done. And the last things that we should be working on are mastery and trait resonance, because trait resonance just released, but we should be preparing ourselves for the next expansion to come to Throne and Liberty, because if you didn't prepare for Talandre, you guys know that it is a yikes of a thing to try to keep up with all the basically materials and different things that you need to do in Talandre. It is a pain. So in this video, we're going to be going over everything you guys should be doing to prepare for the next expansion. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys to drop a sub, leave a comment, leave a like. I post every single week, and if you guys want to keep up with all my content, make sure you guys do that. But let's jump straight into it. So the first thing I would recommend you guys do is focus on mastery. Now, this doesn't take a lot of basically attention to get done. If you just do your dailies and your weeklies, you'll just naturally get levels. But I highly recommend you try to get as high of a level for your main weapons, but also work on your other weapons as well. As you guys can see, I'm putting in basically my free XP into the other weapons that I don't use. And the reason for this, number one, is mastery is one of the most important things to actually do damage, do healing, do tanking, and basically defense. And the higher you get your actual weapons as well as your other ones, the more you're able to do. And if we know anything, legendary gear is going to be released, which is going to be an incredible step above. If you guys know T1 to T2 purple gear, was it a crazy step above? It's going to be probably be the same way for legendary gear. So the mobs are going to be extraordinarily difficult. PvP is going to take a step above, and you want to have all the advantages you possibly can. And a lot of the mastery down here, as you guys can see, they're in the high levels, like extraordinarily high. For me, I'm 553 on my main. I'm a little bit of ways from these, but you want to make sure you start, I guess, focusing on mastery. If you haven't, make sure you guys, when you go into open world dungeons, you eat food, you have your mastery reports, all that, and make sure you guys are doing your dailies, your co-op dungeons, all that, because you do get mastery XP for those different activities. And for me, what I would say is don't use the free XP on your weapons. These take millions upon millions, and I think maybe a day you get 2 to 3 million, so it's not worth it for this. But if you get the levels from these, it is worth it. But use the open world dungeon XP that you get on your main weapons. The next thing I would recommend is start gathering a ton of different materials. I made the mistake in T1 in selling my polished crystals. I had so many to the point that I was like, I can sell a few of these, a few thousand. And it ended up biting me in the rear end. I took so long doing Tyrant's Isle farming. Don't do what I did. Start stocking up on your polished crystals. I know resonance just came out, so your ores might be low, but try to get through resonance as quickly as you possibly can. Start stocking these ores and pretty much everything. For me, I don't really mind stocking these. I'd rather the Lucent for these. But I would recommend start stocking up on all the materials you can, because if it's anything like T1 to T2, for T2 purple to legendary, it's going to be a 5-to-1 ratio. So if you want to get a legendary precious stallone or whatever it is, if you want one legendary, it's going to cost 5 of these, and that's going to be a nightmare. Now, don't get me wrong, we'll probably get an increase in the drop rate for materials in the next areas like open world dungeons, but just to make sure you're on track and keeping up with everything, make sure you start stocking up. I have been saving and just making sure I've been ahead of the curve for that, so that I don't have to basically spend hours upon hours just doing one form of content. And for me, I've actually started stocking up on my parchments as well. For me, I wanted to get all the other skills leveled up, but I think I'm gonna hold off right now until the next expansion. Another important thing, and arguably the most important thing, is going to be start saving your Lucent. Right now, we're sort of in a, I guess, in the decline of the market. Whenever something new is released, there's always a boom, and you always hear people say, oh, don't buy anything for the first 2 weeks of an expansion or an update. Just sell the things, and then when they drop, buy it so you can save. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Legendary gear is going to be probably more expensive than anything this game has ever seen, because, well, Korean servers don't have it yet. We don't have it yet. It's basically uncharted territory. So highly recommend you start selling things as much as you possibly can. As you guys can see, I have a ton of things that I've sold in the past 2 to 3 weeks. Pretty much try to sell anything you possibly can. Of course, you don't want to sell terrible, like, how do I put it? If you have 50 trait unlock stones for a tier 2 gear, you don't want to sell it for 25 Lucent. But as long as you are making, I guess, a profit per trait unlock stone, it's definitely worth it. Same thing goes for ink. If you guys want to make a lithograph, I think Aragon made a video recently on how you should go about it. I don't necessarily agree in that sense, that I think he did like, oh, you need to basically, if you have a piece of gear that's under 500, you shouldn't sell it for a lithograph. I don't necessarily believe that, but like, it's sort of on par, I would say. Like, if it's 200 for the lithograph, but it's 150 for the trait, just sell the trait. If it's 300, probably you could sell the lithograph, but I don't think that high. Most things are not going to be selling, at least for the lithographs, for that high anymore. Very, very particular items. But make sure you guys are starting to stock up on it. I'm closing in on 25,000. I think I want to get to close to 40,000 before the next expansion, but we'll see how my RNG goes for that. But we'll see what ends up happening. Another thing you can do, but I don't recommend doing yet, is blessing stacking. And the reason why I don't recommend blessing stacking quite yet is because there are still a lot of items that are selling for more worth than blessing. I made the mistake last time for prepping for Talandre and blessing stacking, I would say a little bit too early. And what ended up happening is I basically spent so much Lucent to the point that the blessing itself just wasn't worth it. It would have been cheaper for me to just wait and buy the items outright and trait them that way. But once it gets to a point where, like, traits and blessing are so dirt cheap, then you could theoretically do that. But we're not quite there yet. But you guys can start by using like blue gear. It's not gonna blessing stack very quickly, but it will allow you to do that. But for me personally, I'm not starting that quite yet. I would rather put it into the material transmutation, because you can get certain pieces of gear from this that sell for a lot. If you guys saw in the Lucent, I sold something for what was it, almost 3k. Let's see if we can find it. This infernal demonic pack cuffs with max health, I sold this for 3k. That's worth more than any blessing stacking that you could possibly get. Now, there are a couple things in here that are not really worth it. especially if you get like something like collision resist or collision chance. Is definitely not worth it, but there are quite a few things in here that I would say are so worth it just for the Lucent, and then you use that Lucent later on to blessing stack. But you can theoretically slowly start doing it right now. Now, this last tip technically wasn't by design, but it's something that you more than likely are having the same issue with me, but it sort of works in your favor, is start saving gear. T2 gear, start saving it. If the track record of what we've gotten is any way to go off of, we will eventually get a new level of material transmutation, which will allow us to get legendary gear from. And T2 gear gives you the most amount of points to get to that next level. And you can easily, on whenever they release it late for us in the Talandre life cycle, but you should be prepared for it when it inevitably comes out. For me, this wasn't by design. I just got all these drops. I would like to sell them, but I can't because I either don't have the trait unlock stones or I don't have the ink to do it. Just to keep up with every single piece of gear. But start saving up. You can theoretically add them to your lithograph for the trait, like what is it? Trait something stones, trait unlock stones, but I'm gonna wait until like the very end when I'm overflowing with tier 2 gear to even worry about that, because also, as we know, when the next expansion will come out, basically all these pieces of gear will be the like bare minimum drop for a lot of different content. Just like you had like the shot commander stuff, you had the shadow harvester stuff that drops like water in the open world dungeons that we have now. So if that's any indication of what we'll get in the future, I'm not too worried, but I would say start stocking up on these, and should be good for when the material transmutation does indeed come out for legendary gear. So hopefully this guide helped you guys out. I know we're a ways from the next expansion, but it's always good to be ahead. I'm still grinding a lot of things out at the moment, and we're again halfway through the life cycle. Don't really get to like actually, I guess, enjoy the content we have right now. It's just oh, I have to do this to get the gear or to get that combat power boost. So I just want to make sure everyone is ahead as much as possible. If you guys follow these little tips, you should be well okay for the next expansion. But make sure you guys drop a sub, leave a like, and leave a comment. It is absolutely free, and it really does help the channel out. And this way, it allows you guys to keep up with all my content that I post every single week. So make sure you guys do that. But other than that, that is all I have for you. So I hope each and every one of you guys has a wonderful, wonderful day. And as always, take care, and I'll talk to you guys later.